Welcome to Business Talk, presented in collaboration with the University of Rio Grande and the Ohio State University South Centers, from the heart of southeastern Ohio at the University of Rio Grande TV studio. Our goals are simple: promote the University of Rio Grande and the Ohio State University South Centers, as well as advocate local small business and their support organizations. More importantly, promote southeastern Ohio as a wonderful place to live, explore, and learn. There are many different ways you can find us. The University of Rio Grande Cable Access Channel 17, live online at blogtalkradio.com, and on YouTube if you are unable to catch our show live. Introducing our co-hosts, Jason Winters, Mike Thompson, Patrick Dingle. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy the show.
Today it is our pleasure to introduce and welcome Nancy Graham and daughter Jill Beaver, owners of Rough and Fluff Grooming, located in Gallipolis, Ohio. Welcome, Nancy and Jill.
I think it's really great. It's my understanding that not only have they been involved in the business community in Gallipolis, Ohio, Mike, but they are also classmates of yours.
One is.
Yeah, I guess so. We're very fortunate to have with us Nancy and Jill. We're going to be talking about dog grooming and some of the important things in operating a business. And then I wanted to also find out from Peter, maybe a little bit into the show, the kinds of animals and the dog grooming that goes on in England, because maybe they do the same thing. I don't know. But before we begin, Nancy, Jill, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised here in Guy County, and in Guy County. I took up dog grooming about 5 years ago, and
you started your business, your small business here in Gallipolis.
Right.
Fantastic.
Had you worked anywhere before?
I did. I worked for the city of Gallipolis.
Okay.
And I just thought that I needed to do something different, and I always had a passion for dogs, and so.
What kind of dogs did you have? When.
Golden Retriever, Jack Russell, Bloodhounds. Scotty.
A Scotty?
And that's probably it, I guess.
My son had a Golden Retriever, and they're really good with small children.
Yeah, there's nothing like Golden Retrievers. They are wonderful dogs.
So you started your business in Gallipolis, and that was basically dog grooming.
Right. It was a home-based business, and my husband turned our garage into dog grooming for me. So
very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Hey, and your daughter's also with you in the business?
Yes.
Jill, tell us about yourself.
I was also born and raised here in Guy County. I had went to college and tried out many different things, broadcasting for one, and teaching, and I just could not find my knack, and so my mom's business was really growing at the time, and so I decided to go to Nash Academy, which actually took about 6 months, and it was in Kentucky. I had to live down in Kentucky for a little while, and so I started working with her.
Well, when we were looking through some of the material that in regards to dog grooming, I always thought it was just sort of comb the hair and that was it. And I guess there is more to dog grooming that meets the eye.
Oh.
And there's a number of different areas that you're going to be talking about. I'm also interested in starting a business. You are a woman-owned business in Gallipolis, and some individuals probably need some advice when they start small businesses, because it's probably not easy. And so we're going to ask a few questions on that. But I'd like to start with one particular question. First of all, I didn't know that there were that many pedigrees there are 152 pedigrees.
And probably the list is growing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, depending on, say, like Labradoodles and all
Right.
those.
Those are
Designer
fashion
dogs.
breeds.
Yeah,
Toy poodles.
right.
Pipe doodles?
Toy poodles.
Toy poodles.
Oh, toy.
Well, that-
Toy poodles and
Oh, my.
Well, I have a list here. I could not believe. But let's talk a little bit about basic grooming. I know that there are 5 different dog grooming tips or basic things, and hairbrushing seems to be one. What do you?
Is there any recommendations for brushing, types of brushes or anything, depending on what kind of hair they have?
Well, there is. I mean, it depends on the coat type.
Depends on the coat type.
Right.
Is that like a winter coat or a spring coat?
Yeah, well, some dogs are wired hair, some are smooth coat.
Oh, okay. All right.
And-
And so their hair is a little bit different.
Right. Yeah, and so some dogs do better with a brush. Some do better with combs. Say like a Yorkie, you would need maybe to use a comb so that you can make sure that you get all the mats and tangles out, because a brush will just like mislead you and make you think you've got all those mats and tangles out.
It'll just comb more on the
And
surface.
the comb gets down in there where the actual
Oh, okay.
matting is.
And then cold weather dogs, like I've got a Bernese, or probably a Husky might be one.
You would need a de-shedding brush for him, but the only thing with
Oh,
a
that's good.
de-shedding brush is you have to be careful about how many times you use it, because they could easily cut their skin.
I was going to say I've got a de-shedding comb, a couple of them, and some of them are pretty aggressive.
They are.
So you can get carried away pretty quickly.
Yeah, you can.
So you have the long-haired dogs, and they usually need to be brushed every day.
Well,
Either every day or every other day.
And when it does get matted or tangled, is it because it's not brushed or because it's weather related, or what's the?
It can be weather related, but most of the time it is because of lack of brushing.
Oh, okay.
Just neglect.
All right.
Yes.
yeah.
So a long-haired dog. Give me an example of what kind of a dog is a long-haired dog? A Cocker Spaniel? Would that be a long-haired or
Well, it could be if you let the hair grow, but
Okay.
more like a golden retriever, maybe.
golden retriever?
Newfoundlands.
Oh, okay.
um,
All right. And then medium-haired dogs, they don't need as much brushing. Is that correct?
It depends. It really does depend. Because, I mean, we have a lot of people that do come in that want long-haired, short-haired, all cut. And it's just really kind of up to the owner to be the one that keeps up with what style of cut they prefer.
When would you take your dog to a groomer?
Oh, 6-8 weeks old. If nothing else, just for a bath. Just
Okay.
to help them get familiar with the groomer, and that way they're not scared, and they learn to like it and enjoy it
Yeah.
as time goes.
Yeah, I know that. Is there any particular problems that you can take care of, maybe that, owners go, oh my God, he's a mess. What can you do?
Well, you mean as far as shaving them down?
Yeah, I guess if their mats are too bad, then you just
Yeah.
shave them.
Shave them completely down. And,
A lot of dogs act different with
yeah.
their owners versus with a groomer. With your owner, even with my dogs, they know that they can get away with a lot more with me, versus if I let her cut their nails, they know that they can't. They don't try to pull as much with her.
So do you rather have the owners stay with you guys while you're giving them the bath, or not?
no.
Not usually.
We'd rather them wait outside.
Yeah.
I'm curious
Yeah.
why. Why?
Well, because a lot of times the dog would try to gravitate towards the owner, and, jump and leap, and they just misbehave more the majority of the time. Now, if it's an aggressive dog, that's a little different. We encourage the owner to stay.
I would imagine that you have a number of different dogs at any given time.
Right.
And so, how do you keep the dogs from fighting each other, or?
Well, we normally don't allow different owners of dogs to be, out of the cage at the same time, unless we're getting them out of the cage and putting them on our table.
Okay, all right.
And then we have crates that we keep them in.
Okay. Are there any kinds of dogs you would prefer not to take care of?
Probably a chow.
A chow?
Probably.
Is it because of the skin conditions and the wrinkles and that?
No, they're just.
Or no, I'm thinking a different. I'm thinking Shar-Pei.
Yeah. Probably a chow. They're just more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
so you're saying a dog owner should bring them in within 8 weeks, or?
the sooner
or
the
so.
better.
Just
if
earlier
nothing
to
else,
get.
just to bring them in and let us brush the dog out.
So that way they get familiar with.
Right.
Just
Oh,
like
okay.
going to the vet. So not every vet experience is a bad one.
Right.
I mean, sometimes I'll take both of my dogs into the vet, even if one is just getting looked at. So, one can just hang out and say, okay, this is not a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
And the car trip. A lot of dogs get sick on the car trips, and that helps them get used to
Oh,
the
yeah.
car trip.
We have a variety of different dogs, but what kind of dog do you see in our area that it tends to be prevalent, or is it?
I'd say a Shih Tzu. Would you?
Probably Shih Tzus and Yorkies.
Uh-huh.
And what kind of is it? A small dog, a large dog,
It's the little long-haired dogs.
Yeah, it's a small dog.
small dog?
Little lap dogs, the toys,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yorkies
Little
are
guys.
probably about 2 pounds to sometimes 10 pounds, and then your Shih Tzus can be sometimes from probably 10 pounds to 15.
Huh. Okay. All right.
What's a normal day like?
Oh, it can be anywhere from 10 to 14 dogs.
Is that during
10
the full
to
day?
14 dogs.
Yes.
And for a full groom, how long does it take if they came in for like the full process?
It depends. If it's a Yorkie, it might take us an hour. If it's
I'm not sure.
Great Pyrenees,
Yeah, I'm not sure how long it took to do my dog.
it might take 2-3 hours. We bathe each dog twice, and then we hand dry them. We don't cage dry.
Well, I don't understand. What do you mean hand dry, cage dry?
We have dryers that we actually,
Oh,
with
okay.
the hose that we hand dry with. We don't place a dog in a cage.
and
turn
let it
the-
just dry by
Yeah.
itself.
Those are
I
very
see.
dangerous. A lot of dogs have died in those cages before.
Huh.
They overheat.
What the hell's that?
They overheat.
Oh,
Oh.
is it heated with
Yeah.
like lamps and stuff?
I've
No,
never,
it's just hot air.
I've
Oh,
never seen them.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know my boy wouldn't like that. He's a
No.
cold weather boy, and he wouldn't like that at all.
I just can't imagine being stuck in a cage and dryer being put on me. So
Yeah, that's not cool.
no,
Mm.
I think it's kind of cruel. But
Hmm.
But there's a lot of dogs, though, that don't like the big dryer either.
yeah,
Yeah.
So sometimes it would be nice if you could use one, but there's just too many dogs have died from them.
Yeah, I know
Overheating.
watching you do him, it just kind of blew. It wasn't so much a hot thing, where it dried it. It just kind of blew the water off of him.
Yeah.
yeah,
And plus, like our blow dryers for double coated dogs will take out that extra coat that they have that a cage dryer will not.
Right.
Okay.
Because the cage dryer would go from the outside in,
Mm-hmm.
and this one just kind of blows through the hair.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You got my curiosity up. Over in England, what are some of the more common breeds?
I mean, common breeds that we have, Labradors, they're very common. Probably the most common, I'd say, in England. Springer Spaniels, another one. Cocker Spaniels, things like that. I mean, we do have the smaller dogs, but for some reason in England, a lot of people do prefer to have especially males, prefer to have the bigger dogs because they don't like to be seen walking the smaller dogs.
Yeah, you don't want a big guy with a little foo-foo dog.
Exactly, but I mean, in terms of grooming, I mean, it's not as popular, I don't think, as the States. I mean, you come to the States and you can find dog grooming services around in every area. In England, obviously, there's the big chains, but then apart from that, there's not a lot of smaller businesses doing it. Just because, I mean, I know we have two bigger dogs.
What kind of dogs?
They're a cross between a German Pointer and a Springer Spaniel. I mean, German Pointer is actually a gun dog, but they've got the floppy ears. They haven't got pointy ears. They're actually more outdoor dogs, but they're very short-haired. So whenever they get filthy, because whenever you bring them in the house, they charge around wherever they can go. Like, they're always inside, but as soon as you let them in certain rooms, that's it. They'll be up on the sofa, they'll be jumping wherever they can.
Oh, yeah.
So when they get mucky or filthy, they end up getting the outside treatment with the hose pipe.
Huh.
So as soon as they see that hose turn on, they both disappear up into the back of the garden.
Oh, so they don't like
And
it.
they just sit round the corner looking at you, waiting for you to turn it off before they'll come back down.
Now, is there any rules in England about keeping your dog? My mom was telling me something about Germany, that you can't have a dog like chained outside. They want you to have a run that is fenced. They don't want these big chains outside.
We don't have rules about that, but it's very rarely that you'll see a dog chained outside in England. I mean, we have a back garden which is all fenced in, which is where our dogs, we have a dog flap on the back door,
Yeah.
so they can go in and out the house as they please. But whenever it's sunny, you'll find them just laying outside.
Yeah.
But we don't have, I mean, we do have, whenever my family go away in the caravan, they have a stake they put in the ground that there's got a wire the dogs are attached to, so they can put them outside on the grass, so they can't go wherever they want to go. But very rarely do you see dogs chained outside. There's no dog kennels or anything like that anymore.
Yeah.
You very rarely see dog kennels. All dogs stay inside, so it's very
I
rarely.
would prefer that, just because, you get to know your dog,
Yeah.
and they add a lot more to your life rather than just that occasional walking out and
Yeah.
giving them water and food, then going back in your house.
Yeah. I mean, we used to have a run outside for them during the day while we weren't in,
Yeah.
where they could actually spend time outside in the garden without us being there. But now they're inside,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Jason, who's behind the camera, running the camera, you have a couple different
a
kinds
Pyrenees.
of dogs. A Pyrenees,
I have
Yeah.
a Beagle, I have Pyrenees, and I have a Labradese.
a Labradese, a Pyrenees, and a Beagle. And all of them protect your farm, correct?
They do.
I guess the Labradese would be a homegrown dog, an accidental creation.
It's a fantastic animal.
Yeah. I don't believe there's any bad dogs personally. It's the people who make dogs bad.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree with that.
Does it take special handling of different kinds
Yeah,
of dogs
like-
throughout the day?
You've got like mine who's shy. You
Right.
have aggressive dogs. Is there any state of mind that you had to learn that would take care of these?
I think there is. I mean, your gentleness and you know when to be firm with them, and say like you might not want to baby talk to a more aggressive dog.
Yeah.
You just want to stick to business and get things done, and just
Show them who's boss.
yeah.
And dogs feed a lot off of your own personality and how you are with them.
And it's not just a job to me. It's just a huge love for animals.
Hmm.
So
Where did the idea like start?
I just got tired of sitting at a desk, and
Mhm.
it's like I always wanted to be a veterinarian,
Uh-huh.
and I never pursued that. And I then thought, well, maybe I would open up a boarding kennel.
Hmm.
And my husband said, no, that's too time constricting. So it just kind of started looking into dog grooming, and
So have you had any regrets about going into the grooming business at all?
no, none whatsoever. I mean, for the most part, I get up every day and enjoy going down there and seeing dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular, because you do this at your home in the garage, not just, I mean, the garage is kind of fixed up, but is there any interesting points, pluses or minuses for having something at home like that?
Well, there is. I mean, but I guess that's part of it. Just, I think sometimes people don't think that you're closed.
Okay.
That you're always open, and they have a tendency just to, call or
Just pop in.
or stop in anytime. And that's part of it. I guess you have to realize that you. Yeah. And your phone calls, where I do use my home phone.
Hmm.
The phone calls, even on Sundays. So it's kind of.
Now, you said the business has grown quite a bit in the past few years. Is there anything you could attribute that to, or how you get the word out?
I think mostly I just was blessed by God, is all I can say. And Facebook, when she got out of Nash, she started putting it on Facebook. But
Yeah, I've noticed on the Facebook page, after you get done, I guess you would have permission from the owners to put a little picture of each of the finished product of each dog.
we don't get permission, but they're really excited when we put them on there.
Yeah,
So.
they're star for a day.
And sometimes we even get messages saying, you know, when
Where's
you
my
go to
picture at?
Yeah. And sometimes we forget. You get busy
Yeah.
doing dogs, and you forget.
Well,
to
you
put
said,
them on
what,
there.
11 or so a day?
Sometimes 14, 10,
Yeah.
11.
I
It
had
just
17 the other day.
Yeah.
17.
Now, is that 17 small dogs or?
Oh,
No.
No.
variety of
All of
sizes.
it.
Wow.
You know, I know God has a lot to do with it, but we have to sometimes help God. And
Right.
probably your customer service and the friendliness and the love for the animals plays an important part
It does.
in
And that
maintaining
goes
a
into the
good
word of
business.
mouth.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
You know, she
Yeah.
treated my dog really
Yeah.
well. And
Yeah.
Are there any kinds of dogs you would wish that they're too aggressive, that you wish they wouldn't?
No, that was the chow.
That was the
That
chow.
was a chow.
And I've only had one of those stop by, so
Have you ever taken any of your dogs to a groomer?
no. Well,
Okay.
years and years ago, when back in, that would have been 85, when I had a Scotty. And
I wasn't sure if you had any experiences with other groomers and say, I'd like to do something like that, or they did something that I didn't like and I would do it differently.
yeah, no, that was the only time. My other dogs were just, you know, the Bloodhound
Yeah.
and the Golden Retriever was something I could do on my own. But we do get a lot of calls from the animal shelter and Bob Evans Rescue.
Mhm.
We've been grooming a lot of those dogs, and those are pretty rewarding because they come in a mess and very matted sometimes, and then, you know, you get to clean them up and you know they're going to a good home.
How very
No, this
good.
is before they're adopted and all
Sometimes.
that, or
Sometimes.
so are the dogs that end up in the shelter, are they more thankful for your service, or are they just all over the place as far as being aggressive or shy or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, scared to death.
No,
Tend
I
to be scared, I think.
yeah.
A lot of times they come
Not
off from the
aggressive.
road or been abused. I mean, we've had a few come in that, you know, like faces have been kicked, or
Hmm.
and I think it's more scared than aggressive. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah. And so they probably like getting all the burrs and briars and the
It's
mud
sad
and
what
everything
some
off of
come
them.
in looking like.
Do you know how many get adopted out of the animal shelter?
Supposedly, the majority of all of them do.
That's
They're
good.
very good at finding homes for them. A lot of them are shipped out on airplanes, and people here in town meet other people halfway,
Mm-hmm.
and so they're doing a good job at.
Yeah, I've seen I think Pet Finder,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of gets all the shelters together or businesses, and if you're looking for a particular dog, I don't know, like American Bulldog or something, you can search that,
Right.
and it'll come up what shelters have maybe an American Bulldog,
Yeah, it's a good place to start if you're looking for a certain
certain
or a
breed.
shelter. Don't
Yeah.
even. So.
Yeah, most of my dogs have been, I don't know if you say half breeds or rescue or show up at the door.
Yeah.
I've only paid for one.
Well, that is rather interesting that some individuals will pay a tremendous amount of money for a dog
Yeah.
when in some
Yeah, like a
sometimes-
bulldog, I think is tremendous.
Mhm.
What is that? Like $2,000 or $3,000?
Oh yeah, it can be. Yeah.
they only have usually 1 to 3 pups in a litter.
Do you know anything about bulldogs?
Just from what other individuals have said.
I don't think that they can have their own puppies. They're all cesarean.
Right.
They have to be bred. So if people were to leave the bulldog alone,
Mhm.
they would be gone in one generation.
Mhm. That's true.
That's why they're, I guess, probably
So
more
it's-
expensive.
And
I'd say so.
what is the fascination with a bulldog?
just the attitude, the looks.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not. I don't know. It's like I think I haven't really. I've been around a lot of bulldogs, but I haven't ever owned one. I think it's like being around an old man. he coughs, he snorts, he farts. You know, he's just a rude little animal, but they're lovable as anything.
That's what Jason just said about me not too long ago.
Oh my.
We only have a couple more minutes. Is there a couple things you would like to share to the listening audience in regards to dog grooming, that we haven't touched upon?
Pat, how about contact information?
Boy, that would be great. How can we get in touch with you?
Either by cell phone,
And the cell phone number is
740
740
645
645
4106.
4106.
You can also text message me that way also.
So you have the ability to be text.
Right.
And you're located where?
On 2244 Vanco Road. And that's Gallipolis.
In Gallipolis.
It's not hard to find, but I don't think you have a sign, do you?
We don't. We don't have a sign, and that's because we have regulations where
Yeah.
we live at, so we're unable to have a sign there.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. And so if I were to call you, I wanted to bring in a dog, do I have to set up an appointment?
Yes.
And so is that usually 1-2 days a week?
Usually 1 to 2 weeks is
1
what
to
you
2
might
weeks?
want to allow.
Oh, okay. All right. And so I then bring my animal over to you. Can I pick it up the same day?
Yes. Usually within an hour to 2
Okay.
hours.
All right.
Just depends.
Is there anything that was unexpected that when you got into the business, that you didn't expect to happen, or gosh, I didn't know it would include that?
The owners,
Yeah,
dog owners.
the dog owners.
Yeah.
Is the owners harder to deal with than the dogs?
By far. Yeah. Well, sometimes they feel like that their dog won't do okay when they leave. When
Oh,
they leave
yeah.
it there, when actually they're fine.
Yeah. Is that like me? I guess.
Yeah. They're fine. They do.
Yeah.
They stop barking once you're out of sight. And
Mm-hmm.
then when they hear your car pull up, they start barking again.
Yeah. They know that you've got them for a while.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, whatever she wants to do, I'll do it.
Sometimes they just kind of freeze and stand there for you.
Yeah.
Understand. And so the name of your business is Rough N, as in N,
Right.
Fluff.
Right.
And you also have a website presence that gives you some contact information. And I'll be,
And you can probably search it on Facebook.
yeah, just
Facebook
Rough
is-
and
Because I think
Fluff.
you keep the Facebook a little bit more updated and
Right, we do.
active than
Mm-hmm.
the website with pictures and different things.
Right. We do.
Any
Yeah, the
other, we only have about a minute.
I don't think I do, unless you do.
No.
And just really quick, would you go back to Nash Academy? Did they really help you to understand the?
Oh yeah, they definitely did. I'd say the only thing that was down about Nash was down here in Gallipolis, dogs are way worse. They're just matted and they're not as taken care of here as they are in Kentucky. I would guess.
Well,
I'd say.
I would think that there's a group of people that use Nash as their groomer
Yeah.
at a reduced rate, rather than getting pound dogs or neglected animals in as subjects to work
Right.
on. So maybe that would be something they could do, is like take on some, homeless dogs or whatever.
That would be good. That would be good.
That's true.
Well, Nancy and Jill, I want to thank you very much for being on our show and sharing information. And again, the phone number where they can get in touch with you is 740 645 4106.
Correct.
And just give you a call at any time during the day or night, right?
That's right, 24 hours.
and if you don't answer, just leave a voice message,
Uh-huh.
and they can text.
Yeah, text also.
But thank you very much for coming on the
Thank you
show.
for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Next week we have Dr. Dave Lawrence. He's going to be talking a little bit about some of the accomplishments at the University of Rio Grande.
He's dean of one of the schools. I can't remember what school it is. Do you remember what the title is? He's a dean.
Actually, he's the associate
Provost.
provost.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, he's
He was dean over the liberal arts. So,
right.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Mike,
I'm Peter.
and
Jason
Jason
says
behind the camera.
he says Jason, and you are.
Nancy,
And Jill.
Thank you for listening.
thank you.